All right, boys and girls, we are going to learn how to start sketching ideas for our stamps. In your distribution bag, you probably received a piece of styrofoam. This is a 4-inch square, so if you didn't pick up your bag, you can always cut a piece out of a styrofoam plate or a styrofoam tray. I'm going to use this kind of as a stencil to trace my design so I know exactly what to do and what size it is. So I'm just going to lay it on my paper and just trace around the edges so I can get the approximate size for it right now. I do not want to start drawing on the actual styrofoam yet. I want to plan out my design first. So I want to have at least a few options. So maybe 2, 3 options is good because I can use a different design in each of these squares. So the general idea is for a radial stamp, you want the image to be symmetrical. So if I make a line that starts on one side of my paper, it's almost like you're drawing your design so that it goes along this diagonal line and it's going to be symmetrical on both sides of this. So if I make something that starts at the point and kind of curves out, I'm going to try to do the exact same thing on the other side of that diagonal line so that it stays symmetrical. If I make something that goes off the edge, like a little line like this, I want to try to make it as much symmetrical as possible to here. So it's about the width of my pencil from this side. I'm going to make it about the width of my pencil on this side. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it to be kind of close. If I do something else, maybe I want to make a line that kind of stretches across. And if it ends somewhere else, you know, it's totally okay. Actually, I think I drew this one on the wrong side. So this is why drawing with pencil is a good idea. I noticed my mistake because it should have been the mirror image. So my line should have been more on this side. There you go, because this starts on the same side of the line as my loopy line and it comes out. Not everything has to be perfectly symmetrical. If you did have just a random shape floating, it's okay. It'll just show up in a different spot. And you can just play around with things. Maybe you want to try something completely different. Maybe breaking your stuff up into different sections. Maybe you put a different line inside of each section. So I can do different types of things. And then ending with different polka dots or something. So just planning out your design is fine. If you don't want yours to be perfectly symmetrical, whatever you do will line up and still be a stamp. And remember, it's going to rotate around. So you can try a couple of different ideas out and then see what really works for you. You might wind up liking something more than you like something else. You might even test out different things. Maybe you make 2 points with just some random shapes and just seeing what happens. When you are done planning out your designs, you're going to think about the one you might like the most. I think I like this one. And this is the one I'm going to test out in the drawing app. So I'll show you that next. So I am at the Math Art Symmetry is Fun website, and I'm going to set this up so that it does make a symmetrical radial design. So I want to make sure that I've set my computer correctly. We're going to write reflection symmetry. We're going to write none. We're going to do 4 for rotation symmetry so that we get that really cool radial design. You want to have to be able to draw on your screen because some of you can use your finger if it's a touch screen, or you can use your mouse. So put the red squiggle. We want our lines to be kind of thick, so set it to a 6 width, and you can leave the transparency alone, but make it black so that you can actually see your design. Now I'm going to be looking at my sketch that I liked, my square design, and I'm going to draw what I've seen here, but on here. And you can see this little plus sign. So we're going to pretend like the lines going down and across are for my axis lines, and I can actually see them. So when I start drawing my square shape in one part of my box, you can see it connects. So after my square, I did this like wiggly squiggly line. So I'm going to go where the plus sign was. I'm going to start designing my wiggle squiggles, and you can see that my reflective symmetrical design is starting to line up. If I make things stop and not go to the edge, or not line up completely, it's not the end of the world. This gives me a good idea of what my design's going to look like. So you might realize after drawing on this app, whoa, that's not what I was thinking about. Maybe I want to test out a different of my designs. So you can hit clear. And maybe I want to try this one that kind of reminds me of the like scrambled eggs kind of thing. So in this one, it doesn't matter where I draw, I'm going to draw my little half circle side. Then I had this like cool loopy kind of design. Then I did the same thing in this opposite corner. So you can see this kind of lets you know what your finished piece is going to look like in the end. And you might, once you're on here, start drawing something and realize, you know what? I really like the way this looks. I changed my design. I want to do something different and add more pieces to it like I'm doing now. The trick is when you look at it and see those pieces, remember you're only focusing on the one square. So what you're drawing is only going to be what that square is right there. And that's what I would change to put on those pieces. So since I added that little loop on that side, I can do that with my pencil and then make the necessary adjustments to my piece to try to change what I need to.